Every pilot has a story. Every dream begins on the ground. This is your journey to cockpit, where passion takes flight.
This week in aviation was, well, a big one. Fuel prices almost doubled literally overnight. IndiGo announced a massive leadership change, and we saw multiple safety incidents that raised some really important questions. So, here's your complete aviation news update for the week of March 30 to April 5th, 2026, and most importantly, what it means for you as a pilot. Okay, so here's our flight plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the chaos in India's skies, then pull back to see what's shifting globally. After that, we'll dive into a critical safety review, look at how the future of flight is being built, and then wrap it all up with the bottom line, what all of this means for you. All right, let's kick things off in India, because the industry there just got hit with a serious 1-2 punch. A massive fuel price spike that honestly threatened to ground airlines, and a blockbuster CEO appointment at the country's most dominant carrier.
On April 1st, people in the industry woke up to this number. And no, it wasn't an April Fool's joke. The price of aviation turbine fuel shot up by a jaw-dropping 114.5% overnight. This was driven by the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and it wasn't just a small price adjustment, it was a potential shutdown notice for some airlines.
So, take a look at this chart. That middle bar shows you what would have happened without any government intervention. The price would have more than doubled. But they stepped in and capped the increase at 25%, bringing it down to a level that was, still painful but manageable. That one move probably saved domestic air travel from a total collapse. And this quote right here from SpiceJet's chairman just nails it. It perfectly captures the collective sigh of relief from the entire industry. It really shows you just how close Indian aviation flew to a full-on crisis. That cap was the difference maker. At the exact same time all this fuel drama was unfolding, another shockwave hit the Indian market. Industry heavyweight Willie Walsh was just named the new CEO of IndiGo. I mean, look at this resume. From the top jobs at British Airways to running its parent company IAG, and most recently heading up IATA itself. He is known for being a tough, no-nonsense, cost-focused leader, so his arrival definitely signals a new era for IndiGo. So why is this such a huge deal? Well, look at this. Willie Walsh isn't just taking over an airline. He's taking the controls of a carrier that has nearly 2/3 of the entire Indian domestic market. His decisions are going to directly shape the future of flying for hundreds of millions of people. It's a massive move. All right, wrapping up the news out of India, we also saw a leadership change at the top of the regulatory body, the DGCA. And this comes at a really critical time with a major warning that it could take up to 15 years to get all 1,700 aircraft that are currently on order. But even with all these challenges, you've still got airlines like Akasa Air and Air India pushing forward with network growth. Okay, let's zoom out now to the global stage. Because those same geopolitical tensions that caused the fuel spike in India, well, they're forcing some major changes to airline strategy all around the world.
And here's a direct consequence. IATA just had to slash its global capacity growth forecast. And get this. This decision is coming from the very organization that's still being led by the incoming IndiGo CEO, Willie Walsh. They're directly linking this global slowdown to the conflict in the Middle East, which is forcing airlines to cut back on their flight schedules.
Meanwhile, a whole other kind of battle is heating up in the skies. The tech race for in-flight Wi-Fi is on. Delta has just thrown its weight behind Amazon's new satellite service, and this really creates a clear line in the sand, with major airlines now split between Team Amazon and Team SpaceX Starlink. It's going to be fascinating to watch this play out. Around the globe, we're seeing some other really interesting moves. Italy's new airline, ITI Airways, is now officially part of Star Alliance. Alaska Airlines is spreading its wings and launching its first-ever flights to Europe. But on the flip side, you've got Southwest pulling back, exiting major airports like Chicago O'Hare and Washington Dulles to tighten up its network. Okay, let's shift gears to our safety review. This week, we saw a perfect example of professional airmanship and emergency handling from a commercial crew, and it highlights some lessons that are crucial for every single pilot. First up, a critical distinction that every pilot needs to have absolutely locked down, and it was highlighted by the Air India Express incident. The crew used a pan-pan call. That's for an urgent situation that isn't immediately life-threatening. It's different from a mayday, which means you're in grave and imminent danger. Getting that call right is everything for ATC and the response they give you.
And the way this crew handled smoke in the avionics bay, it was just a masterclass in decision-making. From spotting it at 36,000 feet to making the correct call, diverting immediately, and getting the plane on the ground safely, It was a textbook display of professionalism and great crew resource management.
Now over to the ongoing investigation at LaGuardia, where a critical safety gap has been found. The fire trucks at the airport, they weren't equipped with transponders. That means they were pretty much invisible on ATC ground radar. That creates a huge risk for runway incursions since controllers have no electronic way of seeing where they are.
All right, now for a quick look at the infrastructure side of things. Because despite all the short-term pressures we've been talking about, airports around the world are making massive investments, and that tells you they're betting big on the long-term growth of this industry.
And you can see this confidence being built in steel and concrete all over the globe. India's new Noida airport is getting ready to open, which will be a huge relief for Delhi. Frankfurt is about to open a massive new Terminal 3. And check this out, Western Sydney is building Australia's first new international airport in 50 years. These are not small projects, these are huge bets on the future.
So let's tie all of this together. We've covered a lot of ground. But why does any of this news matter to you, whether you're a current pilot or an aspiring one? What are the key signals you should be paying attention to for your career?
So what is the bottom line here? For me, it really boils down to three things you need to be watching very closely: the incredible demand for pilots, the overall health of the industry, and these growing risks that could change everything on a dime. The story for pilots right now is this strange mix of massive opportunity, right? The hiring numbers are fantastic. But at the same time, you've got these very real and growing risks, from fuel costs and geopolitics to supply chain delays, that could really threaten that growth. I mean, on the hiring front, just look at this number. It's staggering. India alone is going to need over 30,000 new pilots in the next 15 years. And remember, that's just one country. The demand globally is also incredibly strong. But, and this is a big but, especially if you're flying in India, there's a key risk you have to be aware of. Just two airline groups control almost 90% of the entire domestic market. This kind of duopoly, especially when you factor in the cost pressures we talked about, means that your career mobility and stability at smaller airlines could be under threat. And that's your aviation update for this week. We're seeing this incredible tension between huge opportunities and some really significant risks. Now, if you're serious about becoming a pilot and want to stay ahead of these trends, make sure to subscribe, because I post updates like this every week. But I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Which one of these stories do you think will have the biggest long-term impact? See you in the next one.
Thanks for watching Journey to Cockpit. If you found this video helpful, like, share, subscribe, turn on the bell icon so you don't miss the next lesson, and keep chasing your flight dreams with us.